We will start with our first speaker of the afternoon session, Mr. David Galperin, please.
Thank you very much. My name is David. I'm a software quality engineer. I want to focus today on software safety. I love the first phrase in your slogan, safer drivers. That's expanded in meaning. I want to thank you for the opportunity to share my concerns. My remarks will be short. Since NHTSA doesn't roll off my tongue, I will substitute the word you. You recently decided to let the AI genies out of their magic lamps and give them conditional licenses to drive. Since my grandchildren are likely to share the road with these AIs, I am here representing them. I want to help assure that you understand the full range of software safety challenges resulting from your decision. To this end, I have posted 23 questions on the comments website. The panel has it in front. I have a few extras up here for anybody who cares, and it's all downloadable off the website. These questions are meant to catalyze thought, study, and discussion. I'm not looking for quick answers. Actually, quick answers will make me nervous. However, I do hope for written responses long before you allow AI-supported driving. I'll quickly read some of these questions to give you a sense of the issues, and I'm happy to answer any questions until my time runs out. I'll be here through the balance of the afternoon and after the meeting because my plane doesn't leave till 10 o'clock tonight. Okay. Question number one, why are you planning to develop operational guidelines instead of regulations? Regulations are the norm for safety critical software. What happens if a company chooses not to be guided? Question number two, software safety needs direct regulation. My bias is exposed there. Neither you nor vehicle manufacturers have experience with direct regulation of software safety, unless, of course, you've got some folks dealing with high-speed trains and safety control systems there, then in fact you have some people in your very own agency that has that experience. Some government agencies, FDA, Level 3 medical devices, and the Nuclear Regulatory Commission and the FAA, those folks all have extensive experience, and the companies that they regulate have extensive experience. So how do you plan to take advantage of both of these resources? Question number three, I don't know of anyone with experience in direct regulation of the safety of AI applications. Now, if you do a Google search on AI and safety, you wind up with a whole lot of interesting stuff on the singularity, which is the fear that some people have that the AI is going to get so smart that it'll start thinking on its own and decide that we're useless and get rid of us. That isn't the concern I'm bringing here. I'm concerned about the standard software critical applications issue plus the complexity, which as far as I know has not been dealt with well by anyone, of when that software is AI. And to me, the big issue there is learning. It's going to learn. So even if at time t0 you were to regulate it and say, fine, you can allow that car to go on the street, at time t+1, it's not the same software anymore because it has changed. We all hope for the better. We hope that it's going to make better decisions on its scene recognition and be able to tell a cow from an overturned semi-truck and a lot of other things. Plus the expert system underneath has to, may learn, and we just don't know whether it will learn and improve, learn and be the same, or actually learn and perform worse after the learning. So it seems to me that That's a huge issue. Some people have extensive experience with AI software, in particular, and its failure modes. And how do you plan to take advantage of this experience? Question number 7. What should happen when a fleet of AIs, of course there's going to be a whole lot of cars out there, right? All driven by the same AIs. When a fleet of AIs is found to be dangerously defective, which security experts will identify protocols for replacing defective AIs? Question 11. If we all agree that AIs have the potential to significantly reduce fatal accidents, how many unnecessary AI-caused deaths should we tolerate? Now, by unnecessary, I mean caused by easily detectable defects in the AI. If you just use this technique and no fancy business, you would have found the problem, but you decided to not use the technique, even though perhaps it's regulated, a regulation requirement. So for something like as simple as test coverage, are we sure that every executable line in the software has actually executed somewhere in testing? Are we sure that every rule of the expert system has actually been invoked somewhere in the testing? That's really minimal, simple stuff. If you can find a bug that way and you don't find it, that's what I mean by unnecessary. AIs will face an unprecedented number of hazards. Are there plans to create a comprehensive national database of hazards, failure modes, and mitigation tactics? Well, what happens if you don't do that? You've got some large number of manufacturers all doing their own thing, coming up with their own hazard analysis, and you get to go in and look at it. Why would you want to do that? Why don't you create a great, let everybody put an input and say, you forgot these 3 things, and have this aggregate in one place so you don't have to keep deciding if somebody's hazard analysis was adequate or not. In a similar vein, road hazard simulators can assess how AIs deal with unusual driving situations. Is the development of a national simulator being considered? Because if you don't have that, you got the same problem again. You got a dozen or more folks out there all building their same simulators. You got to figure out whether their simulators are adequate to whatever regulations you come up with. Why would you want to do that job? Just get everybody. My naive view is that safety regulation should be a cooperative game. Now, I know that there's at least one manufacturer out there, not in this country, who looked at it as an adversarial game. So you set the regulations, they try to figure out how to get out of them. I'm assuming it's in the industry's best interest for things to be safe. You want it. I'm assuming industry wants it. Once you play together and do the job. And I'm sure that issue is not your issue, but rather their issue. Safety is one of 50 software quality attributes. Over 50 of those things. Approximately 30 of those attributes support safety, such as security and response time. Safety is a very fragile goal, a very fragile attribute. It takes a lot. If you just focus on the safety goal and set some standard and don't talk about the 30 other things that are there to support it, you basically left a big hole. And if you're followed down that rabbit hole by the automobile manufacturers, it's going to be unsafe. You just can't deal with safety all and of its own. You got to deal with security and performance and all of these other things. 2 more questions. How should detectable failures of an AI, both total and partial, be handled? What kind of backup will be required for an AI? So here you are, you're being driven along, and suddenly the car begins to behave strangely. You think maybe the AI is on the fritz. How do I deal with that situation? Will you require a park safely and shut off button or voice command? as an example of the things you have to think about. Will you allow expert systems components to learn and change themselves, which is the thing I referenced earlier, or the system can just propose a change, and then at some point that change can be implemented, fully verified again, and then you can allow it out on the road and it can make more suggestions. The last one is for your ethicist in residence. What guidance are you going to provide on the ethical dilemma of whom to kill? I hope you are familiar with that issue. Here comes the car. It takes a very sharp corner, and the warning sign has blown down, and there is a semi-trailer that is about to crash into, or it could swerve to the left and knock off 6 workmen. What choice should it make? Now, generally, the good thing about being human is you're way too slow. So you're probably going to pile into the semi. But if you're an AI, you can think really fast and actually make a decision as to whether to turn the wheel or not. Both of those are really lousy choices. Are you going to provide any guidance as to how AI should be programmed in a situation like that to protect their passengers or protect a greater number of folks standing in the huddle? That's what I have.
Works. I guess I will turn the question around. I guess,
sure.
Which one of those do you think an operational guidance, just for the sake of clarity, I guess in your opinion, should address?
I don't like operational guidance at all. I think that should say regulations. As I said, to my knowledge, software safety, everywhere else in government that software safety is considered has regulations behind them, rules that must be followed. And there are plenty of examples out there. You don't have to start from scratch. You can get hopefully, a lot of folks to help you create regulations. Now, I know that some, if not all, the car companies are going to hate that, right? Better guidance. What are we expecting? That they're all, I have a little phrase in a different thing I wrote. We don't want to confuse very, very smart with very, very safe. They're not. And an earlier speaker referenced the kid in the candy store kind of thing. This is all wow stuff. And I have 40 plus years of experience in the software quality game, and I also happen to have a PhD in computer science with a major in artificial intelligence. So things have changed a lot since I got my degree. The one thing that hasn't changed is human nature. And software safety starts with a safety culture, an appreciation that you can kill people, and that you're dealing with some really, really cool stuff that can kill people. So I don't know exactly what you mean by operational guidance, because I haven't seen that in this area before. But if it's weaker than regulation, you need to be seriously considering regulation, or explaining why you think that this is safer than all these other software areas that are regulated. So that's my answer.
Thank you.
I'm not sure that doesn't help you a lot, but
thank you.
Thank you very much.